I'm sure that you've felt this before. Hours, maybe days, wrestling with a problem, turning it over and over, attacking it from every angle, getting nowhere. And then, you stop, you go for a walk, you lie down half asleep, thinking about nothing at all. And suddenly, there it is, the answer, fully formed, like a guest you weren't expecting, but had somehow been waiting for all along. So here's the question that should bother you. If your conscious effort couldn't solve it, and the solution came the moment you stopped trying, then who exactly solved the problem? In this video, we're looking at an ancient idea that answers that question, and quietly challenges everything we believe about effort, productivity, and control. It's called Wu Wei. Wu Wei comes from ancient Chinese philosophy, and it is one of the most lost in translation when it crossed into the West. Taoism, specifically the teachings attributed to Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. It's often translated as non-action or effortless effort. But both translations already miss the point. They're still trapped in the language of doing versus not doing. Wu Wei isn't about that at all. Alan Watts, who spent decades translating Eastern philosophy for Western minds, put it more precisely than almost anyone. He said Wu Wei is the principle of not forcing. Not laziness, not passivity, just the absence of force. Lao Tzu himself wrote something simpler and somehow even more direct. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu. Think about that for a second. The seasons don't strain to turn, rivers don't grit their teeth to reach the sea, and yet, nothing in nature is left undone. So the question becomes, what would it look like if you stopped straining and still got everything done? The small story, rowing versus sailing. Alan Watts used to describe this with a simple image. Picture two ways of moving a boat across water. The first is rowing. You grip the oars, you strain your back, you fight the water, stroke after stroke, exhausting yourself just to inch forward. The second is sailing. You raise a sail, you read the wind, you adjust, barely, and let a force far greater than your own arms do the actual work. Both boats move, but only one of them is Wu Wei. The dark room, and the snake that ate its tail. The vast majority of what your brain does, pattern recognition, memory consolidation, simulating possibilities, connecting ideas across distant domains, happens completely beneath conscious awareness, all the time, without your permission, without your supervision. Researchers even have a name for the gap between giving up consciously and the answer arriving anyway. They call it the incubation effect. In 1926, a psychologist named Graham Wallas studied exactly this gap. He looked at how great thinkers actually solved problems, and he found the process always moved through the same four stages. First, preparation. You gather information, you study the problem, you attack it consciously from every angle. Second, incubation. You step away, you stop thinking about it on purpose, and the problem seems to vanish. Wallace called that second stage incubation for a reason. Like an egg, nothing visible is happening on the outside, but underneath, something is being formed. Third, illumination. The solution arrives, often without warning, often when you're doing something else entirely. And fourth, verification. You check that it actually works. The conscious mind, that voice in your head you think of as you, is more like a narrow spotlight in a vast, dark room. It illuminates whatever it points at, but the room exists, whether you're looking or not. There's a story about Auguste Kekulé, the chemist who discovered the ring-shaped structure of benzene. He'd been stuck on the problem for months. Nothing fit, no known structure made sense. Then one evening, dozing by the fire, he finally saw it. Atoms dancing, forming chains, twisting, and suddenly, a snake, curling back to swallow its own tail. The Ouroboros. He woke up, and he had the ring. Why stillness feels like failure. Here's what makes this so hard for a modern mind to accept. It requires something we've almost completely lost, the ability to tolerate boredom. The moment emptiness appears, we fill it. Phone, podcast, scroll, anything to avoid the void. We've become addicted to the feeling of effort, because effort is visible. It looks like work. It feels virtuous. Meanwhile, the person staring out the window, who might be doing the most important cognitive work of their entire day, looks lazy, unproductive, like they're wasting time. We've confused visibility with validity. If we can't observe the brain solving the problem, we assume it isn't working. So we keep the conscious mind grinding on the same loop, while the vast machinery underneath sits idle, waiting for a permission that never comes. Because stillness feels like abandonment, like giving up. Directing the current, not stopping it. So, does Wu Wei mean shutting the mind off completely? Not quite. The struggle is real, and it matters. Sitting with a problem, attacking it from every angle, breaking your head against it for hours, that's not wasted effort. That's the preparation Wallas talked about. Without it, there's nothing for the incubation stage to work with. But here's what most of us forget. We do the preparation, we do the struggling, and then we never let go. We never give the subconscious its turn. Your heart doesn't need conscious attention to beat. Your lungs don't need supervision to breathe. And yet, a trained practitioner can learn to slow the heart, deepen the breath. Not by forcing it, by allowing it. Thought works the same way. You don't stop thinking, and you don't stop trying either. You do the work. You ask the question with full focus, and then at some point, you have to step back and rest. Not as a reward for finishing, but as part of the process itself. You let the awake mind do the preparation, and then you let it go, so the rest of the system can do what it does best. Athletes describe this as the zone, the flow state, where thinking would actually slow them down. The training already lives in the body. Conscious interference becomes the obstacle, not the solution. And maybe that's the real meaning of Wu Wei, not doing nothing, but acting from a place where the doing has already been done, where the preparation lives inside you, and your only job is to stop blocking it. Alan Watts once said something that sounds almost like a riddle until you sit with it. Inferior Wu Wei tries so hard to be Wu Wei that it isn't. Even letting go can become another form of gripping, another performance, another thing to get right, another way to grind. So maybe the real practice isn't learning how to release. Maybe it's just noticing, again and again, where you're still gripping when you could simply let the water carry the boat. Thank you for watching.